Have you ever seen a fish follow the lure, get close, almost attack, and give up at the last second? It's happened to me dozens of times. I'd see the fish down there, interested, circling the lure. But at the crucial moment, nothing. It would get away. I changed lures, changed the depth, tried a different color. Nothing worked. Until the day an old fisherman from Florida showed me something so simple that I thought he was kidding me. But when I tested it, in 15 minutes, I caught 4 bass. My friend next to me, using the same lure, same technique, same rod, 0. The difference was in the hands. If this is your first time here, subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any secrets the industry tries to hide. Let me tell you what happened on a lake in Texas, summer of 2019. 2 fishermen, same boat, same rods, same lures. One of them prepared everything at home, organized his tackle box, carefully arranged his equipment. He arrived at the lake with clean hands, smelling of antibacterial soap. The other guy arrived and did something that seemed disgusting. He plunged his hands into the lake water, grabbed a handful of mud from the bottom, and rubbed it on his palms. He kept his hands dirty for about 2 minutes, looking like a madman. His nails turned black. His fingers smelled of wet mud. Then he washed them lightly, but without soap, just with the lake water. First hour of fishing. The guy with clean hands caught 1 small fish, the kind you don't even celebrate. The guy with dirty hands, 7 bass, 3 of them over 2 kilos each. Second hour, the score was 0 versus 5. The clean-handed guy started getting nervous, constantly changing lures, switching spots, testing different colors. Nothing worked. At the end of the day, when the light was fading and they returned to the shore, the result was brutal. 2 miserable fish against 18 respectable bass. Same lure, same cast, same retrieve, same boat, same time. The only difference? One washed his hands with mud. The other didn't. I know. It sounds like a fairy tale, but there's a perfect scientific explanation for this that the fishing industry hates when you discover it, because you can't bottle it and sell it for $50. This hand trick is just one of the techniques they hide from you because it doesn't generate profit. I've compiled everything the industry doesn't want you to know in the book High-Level Fishing, The Water Game. Inside, you'll find practical freshwater and saltwater fishing techniques, how to identify where the fish really are without wasting time in dead zones, current and tide control that makes all the difference, behavioral patterns that allow you to predict movements before they happen, positioning and angle of attack that are more decisive than the lure itself, and the mindset that separates those who fish by luck from those who truly master fishing. All in one place, no fluff, straight to the point. The link is in the description. Now I'm going to reveal what this hand business is all about. Ready? It's simply washing your hands with mud or clay from the area before touching any bait. That's right. No soap, no hand sanitizer, no disinfectant. You get your hands dirty with the environment and let them dry. It sounds like child's play, but old Mississippi fishermen did this religiously since the 1800s. In Louisiana, the guys who fished for alligators and giant catfish in the murky waters did it too. They would arrive at the river before dawn, and the first thing they would do was plunge their hands into the water and rub them on the rocks at the bottom. In Tennessee, it was a tradition passed down from grandfather to grandson, from father to son. Some went further. They rubbed their hands on submerged rocks covered in algae, on rotten logs that had been underwater for years, even on small fish they caught first, just to impregnate their hands with the smell. All to mask the human scent that scares fish away. Nowadays, with so many chemicals on the market, With so many odor-eliminating sprays being sold, nobody teaches this anymore. Stores don't mention it. Sponsored channels pretend it doesn't exist. But it works better than any $40 product you buy at Bass Pro Shops. Do you know why? Fish have an incredibly strong sense of smell compared to ours. A largemouth bass can detect a single drop of blood diluted in an entire Olympic-sized swimming pool full of water. They can sense amino acids, proteins, and chemical compounds at concentrations of parts per billion. To give you an idea, that's like smelling a spoonful of sugar dissolved in a 50-meter pool. Their sense of smell is thousands of times more sensitive than that of a sniffer dog. This means that when you touch bait with a hand that has been coated with sunscreen in the morning, antibacterial soap in the shower, deodorant, moisturizer, or simply has sweat and natural skin oils on it, the fish can smell that scent from afar. And do you know what its brain automatically interprets? Imminent danger. Unknown predator. Run now. The human scent doesn't exist in their natural environment. It's something completely foreign and out of the ordinary. It's inherently threatening. No matter how visually appealing the bait is, no matter how perfect its movement in the water, if it has that ingrained chemical human smell, the fish will be deeply suspicious. It might follow out of curiosity, observe from afar, investigate. But to actually attack, with the aggression you want, only if it's been starving for 3 days. Now, when you wash your hands with mud from the same spot, when you rub mud on your palms and let it dry on your skin, something completely different happens from a chemical point of view. You become covered with the same natural bacteria, microscopic algae, dissolved minerals, and organic compounds that have been present in that water for years. Your human scent is completely camouflaged. It becomes neutral within that ecosystem. The fish doesn't recognize any threat. The bait starts to smell like any other natural object floating or swimming there. Like a branch that fell into the water, a stone, a leaf. And then, the hunting instinct activates without fear, without suspicion. It's pure chemistry, applied in practice. I'm going to teach you the detailed step-by-step process now. Pay attention, because the details make all the difference. You arrive at the fishing spot, whether it's a river, lake, or reservoir. Before opening your tackle box, before assembling your rod, before tying your line, before touching any bait, you do this. You submerge both hands in the water up to your wrists and rub them vigorously in the mud on the bottom. If the bottom is rocky, rub the rocks themselves, especially those with that layer of green slime. If the bottom is sandy, grab some sand and rub it between your fingers. If there are algae hanging from the rocks, run your hands over them several times. If there are submerged logs nearby, rub your hands on the wet wood. Let everything soak into your skin. Rub vigorously between your fingers, on your palms, on the back of your hands, even under your nails if you can. Stay like that for about 2 or 3 minutes without rushing. Let the natural material really stick to your skin. Then you give it a light wash just to remove the thick excess, those larger pieces of mud, but without rubbing too hard. Don't use soap. Don't use anything chemical. The idea is to leave a thin film of natural material still stuck to the skin, invisible but present. Dry your hands in the open air, shaking them or letting the wind do the work. Don't use a towel because towels smell like laundry detergent or fabric softener. Only now, you take your bait and start assembling your equipment. And every time you change bait, change hooks, readjust anything, repeat the process. It seems laborious, but it literally takes 30 seconds once you get the hang of it. It's worth every second invested. This layer of controlled dirt lasts between 30 minutes and 1 hour, depending on how hot it is and whether you sweat a lot or not. After that time, you repeat everything again. Simple as that. Total cost? $0. Time invested? 2 minutes at the beginning, 30 seconds each repetition. Result? You'll see fish attacking with an aggressiveness you haven't seen in years. Want to further enhance this technique and transform it into a lethal weapon? Add these 3 extra details that the old masters used. First detail, avoid using insect repellent on your hands under any circumstances. If you need to use repellent because the mosquitoes are unbearable, apply it only to your arms, legs, neck, and face. Never, ever, to the palms of your hands or fingers. The smell of DEET or icaridin is one of the strongest and most persistent that exists. It clings to the skin for hours. When you touch the bait, that smell transfers instantly and takes a long time to dissipate, even underwater. Fish detect it from afar and associate it with chemical danger. Second detail, and this one is pure gold. If you've caught a small fish that you're going to return to the water, before releasing it, rub your hands on the fish's body. The natural mucus that covers the fish's skin is literally the best neutralizer of human odor that exists in nature. That transparent goo that remains on your hand when you hold a fish? It's a protective layer full of natural chemical compounds from the ecosystem. When you rub this in your hands, you get the perfect scent of the environment. It's invisible to the fish. Third detail, if possible, leave your artificial lures submerged in a bucket of water from the location for at least 10 minutes before you start using them. They absorb the natural scent of the water and become even more chemically camouflaged. If you combine these 3 extra details with the basic dirty hands technique, you create a triple layer of olfactory camouflage that is practically undetectable. The fish literally can't differentiate your lure from something that grew there in that lake. It's as if the lure has been part of the environment for years. And now you must be wondering, if it's so efficient, if it works better than expensive products, why the hell doesn't anyone sell it? Why don't stores teach about it? Why don't sponsored videos mention it? The answer will make you angry when you understand the game. Fishing supply stores literally make millions of dollars every year selling odor-eliminating sprays. These are the small 100 or 150 milliliter bottles that cost between $25 and $50 depending on the brand. The chemical formula? Usually synthetic enzymes or activated carbon dissolved in distilled water, sometimes with a little isopropyl alcohol. Does it work? Yes, it even works reasonably well when you use it correctly. But it doesn't work better than free river mud. The problem is that mud doesn't generate profit for anyone. Nobody can bottle mud and sell it for $40 with a 300% margin. Giant manufacturers invest fortunes in aggressive marketing to convince you that you absolutely need high-tech products to fish properly. They create pretty packaging with modern designs, use it in TV commercials with famous professional fishermen, sponsor million-dollar tournaments, and pay influencers to speak well of it. It's all calculated so you believe that without that imported spray, you'll catch less fish, lose fish, and fall behind. If every fisherman in the United States discovered they could achieve the same results for free in 2 minutes, store shelves would be overflowing with unsold product. That's exactly what they absolutely don't want. That's why you'll never ever see this technique taught in specialized fishing magazines, on brand-sponsored websites, or on large YouTube channels that receive money from manufacturers. It's literally against their business to teach this. They need you to keep buying spray every month. When using this technique in a river or lake, pay close attention to these practical details because they make a huge difference in the final result. First, wash your hands thoroughly before setting up the line, before tying the hook, before touching any equipment. If you touch the bait first with clean hands and only then wash your hands, it's too late. The human smell has already impregnated the material, and will take hours to completely disappear. The right timing is, arrive at the location. Get your hands muddy first, let them dry, only then set everything up and start fishing. Second, it works best very early in the morning, like 5 or 6 a.m., or in the late afternoon after 5 p.m., when the fish are naturally more active and more attentive to any different odor in the water. During the middle of the day, when the sun is strong and the water is warm, the fish are slower and their sense of smell is a little less sensitive. Third, in completely still water, or water with very little current, like a closed lake or reservoir without wind, the effect of this technique is even stronger and longer-lasting because the smell disperses slowly through the water. In rivers with a strong and constant current, the smell dilutes and spreads very quickly, so you need to repeat the hand-washing process more frequently, like every 15 or 20 minutes at most. Fourth, it works for practically any predatory fish that hunts using smell as its primary or secondary sense. Largemouth and smallmouth bass, rainbow and brown trout, channel and blue catfish, walleye, northern pike, muskie, even crappie and bluegill respond to this. Fifth, avoid doing this technique if you have any open cuts or wounds on your hands, for obvious health reasons and risk of infection. Sixth, never, ever use soap or hand sanitizer on your hands after doing the process. If you wash your hands with soap in the middle of fishing because you found it disgusting, you instantly kill all the olfactory camouflage and go back to square one. You have to endure having dirty hands until you finish fishing. And remember that book I mentioned at the beginning? High-Level Fishing. The water game has much more than that. Inside, you'll learn professional water reading to identify exactly where the fish are hiding in seconds, submerged structure and strategic positioning so you know the exact spot to cast your lure, current and tide control to use the water's own force to your advantage instead of fighting against it, seasonal behavior patterns so you can predict where the fish will be at each time of year before even arriving at the location, real-time decision-making so you stop guessing and start deciding based on logic, and above all, the complete mindset that separates the amateur fisherman who depends on luck from the high-level fisherman who masters fishing scientifically. The link is in the first pinned comment below. It's all the knowledge that the industry tried to bury for decades, now compiled and available directly to you. Now imagine what will happen on your next fishing trip when you apply this. While other anglers are spending $50 or $60 on imported odor-eliminating spray that lasts a measly 3 or 4 fishing trips before running out, you simply bend down and pick up free mud that is literally endless and everywhere. In 15 or 20 minutes of fishing, you'll already notice the brutal difference in the fish's behavior. They attack with total confidence, without that annoying hesitation, without circling back and leaving at the last second. Your fishing buddies will start asking what the secret is, what miracle bait you're using if you've changed your equipment. You decide whether to tell the truth or keep this competitive advantage to yourself and continue catching 5 times more fish than everyone else. The giant sport fishing industry desperately wants you to believe you need expensive high-tech equipment to fish well and get results. They want to sell you special neutralizing gel, imported spray with nanotechnology, bait with microparticles of who knows what. Everything always expensive and packaged in aggressive marketing that plays on your psychology. They spend millions on advertising to convince you of this. But the stark truth is that simple river mud does the job better than any synthetic product. And it's completely free, available anywhere there's water. When you finally understand this, when it clicks, you stop being an eternal hostage of the fishing store. Fishing ceases to be about how much money you can spend on new equipment and becomes about real knowledge, observation, and technique. The old fishermen of past generations knew this very well. They didn't have $50 spray to buy because it didn't even exist. What did they have? Keen observation, constant trial and error over decades, and above all, profound respect for the natural environment. Through practical experience, trial and error, they discovered that camouflaging their own human scent was infinitely more important and efficient than any expensive bait or modern equipment. They proudly passed this knowledge on to their children, who passed it on to their grandchildren, who passed it on to their great-grandchildren. But unfortunately, this chain of knowledge transmission was violently broken when modern industry took total control of information. Specialized magazines, large websites, famous YouTube channels, influencers, absolutely everything today is heavily sponsored by giant manufacturers. No one will teach you something for free that doesn't generate direct profit for the brand that pays the bills. But now you know the truth. The big question that remains is, what exactly are you going to do with this powerful knowledge? Subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you don't miss the next video where I'll show you another ancient and brutally efficient technique that the industry deeply hates you discovering.